All righty. All right, we are. Islam, everyone. Let's see. I'm hoping that I get a text message letting me know I'm going over the air well. How's everyone doing? All right, we're going to begin the class as we begin it every Wednesday with the reading of the Holy Covenant of the Asiatic Nation, chapter 25 in the Holy Quran. If you are in agreement with it, after I finish reading, affirm by saying Islam. Ye are the children of one father, provided for by his care, and the breast of one mother had given you suck. Let the bonds of affection therefore unite thee with thy brothers and sisters, that peace and happiness may dwell in thy father's house. And when ye separate in the world, remember the relation that bindeth you to love and unity, and prefer not a stranger before thy own blood. If thy brother is in adversity, assist him out. If thy sister is in trouble, forsake her not. So shall the fortunes of thy father contribute to the support of his whole nation, and his care be continued to you all in your love to each other. Islam. All right. How many people checked out the broadcast last night? How many new people are here today? I know I'm doing this like really, really early, but I'm looking at some unfamiliar faces. How many people know we have a Blog Talk Radio broadcast every Tuesday at 9:30? Cool. All right. You know that you can go back and listen to the archives even if you missed the broadcast, right? You don't know how to get in? All righty. Well, one thing, have you been to the RVBey Publications website? You know, on the front page, the information is there for Blog Talk, right? I will tell you this. If you're trying to get to the Tuesday night broadcast, you need to call in between 9:15 and 9:25, because if you wait until 9:30, all the lines will be gone. That doesn't mean you can't listen to the broadcast. It just means that you will be able to listen to it via the Internet. However, it's a 3-hour broadcast, but only 2 hours go over the Internet. That means at 11:30, the Internet goes down. And if you want to hear the last hour, you have to wait until after 12:30 to download the archive and listen to the last hour. Now, you can do that after 12:30, the next day, the next week, the next month. We got this is our 3rd year. So there's 2 years and 2 months worth of broadcasts that you can go back and listen to that is absolutely beneficial and informative and will help you get up to speed, because the name of the game is catch up. And if you didn't know it, you're about to find out. Many of us, we have not been educated. We have been mentally conditioned. We think we have been educated, and we think that when we go to these European institutions that they are teaching us, that we are going to be able to, get, compete in the marketplace, so to speak, nationally and in some cases internationally. How many people were told this when they were growing up? Get a good education, you get a good job, you can compete nationally and internationally. How many people heard that growing up? Because I know I did. And we're finding that, well, we're realizing, because we're waking up out of a fog, that we were absolutely not educated. We were mentally conditioned, and what was done to us wasn't even beneficial for us. You can't compete here or overseas, because what's going on in these institutions today is not education, it's mental conditioning. I can't say it enough. The history has been reconstructed. So the world events has been, the only thing that you can count on to be pure is mathematics. That's it. Everything else has been reconstructed, and it happened over time to each and every one of us. Maybe 2-3 generations back, the conditioning became really intensive. I remember when I was young, when I was a young girl, you would never, if you were going to a daycare, which we did. My mom was a single mom, and so we went to a daycare. And at the daycare, you never saw anyone that wasn't able to walk, talk, go to the bathroom at a daycare, right? You remember this? How many people went to daycares? Did you guys ever see anybody younger than like 5 able to walk, talk, and go to the bathroom at a daycare when you were growing up? Anybody? I didn't. Going to a daycare today, you'll see infants there. Infants. Because the mental conditioning is beginning earlier, even from the womb. So, how many people feel like they just are, I hate to use the word violated. How many people feel like they're just taken advantage of on a daily basis? You have no say, no control, or you think you have no say, no control, right? All right. Have you ever thought about who it is who is taking advantage of you? Anybody? Have you really? Because, you know, one of the challenges that we have, and I need some magic markers, and we don't have any. Hopefully we can get some. Oh, wait, we got something here. Great. Anybody can get me a, wait, look at that. I got it. Wait a minute now. Maybe I don't have it. Maybe this needs very dry. One of the things that we, as a people, who've been mentally conditioned severely, is so slow on, is proper identification of all the parties. Yes? I know when I first got wind of this information was in 2008, and it was all about go after the state. It's the state that's accosting you. It's the state that's violating your constitutionally secured rights. We wrote to the governor, the attorney general, the secretary of state. I'm speaking from my own experience. This is what I did. I put everybody on notice. I figured I'm going to tell everybody. I think in the telling everybody, it protected me, and it gave me a little bit of breathing room. So we put together a protocol, and the protocol, believe it or not, is on the website. The protocol is, how many people know what the protocol is? Anybody? Yes, great. How many people know what the protocol is? How many people have been to the website? How many people wrote a writ? How many people have had a challenge where your constitutionally secured rights are concerned? I know everybody's hands should be up. How many people have written a writ as it relates to the violation of that? What's the protocol? What's the protocol? The protocol is CC everybody. The protocol is tell everybody. That means that you're CCing the governor, the attorney general, the secretary of state, the justice, at the time it was Eric Holder of the Justice Department, the President of the United States of America, which you know is a corporation, the United Nations, International Criminal Court, the World Court, Interpol, CC everybody. Because if you have an issue with any of these people locally, they want to make sure that nobody else knows. That's why if you go into any of their meeting rooms, because that's what they are, they're only renting rooms in a building called a court. I discovered this when I was having a challenge with small claims. I went into the court and I asked for information about small claims, and they said, oh, they don't have an office here. They just rent space. Who knows, right? So, backtrack mentally, where was I? We have to, what was I saying? Small, okay. They do not, they're just bringing you into these buildings called the court. They're renting space, and they're bringing people in there. But if they can keep you from letting everybody else know, they will constantly molest you. They will extort income from you. They will kidnap you off of the street because they don't want nobody else to know. How do I know this? How many people have gone into the so-called traffic meeting room? I'm not going to call it a court. It's not. How many people have gone into a traffic meeting room? Have you ever tried to record what was going on? You never tried to? I mean, try. I know they don't let you, but have you ever tried? None of you have tried to record what was going on? Let me tell you, when I went in to the meeting room for a traffic issue, I pulled out my phone and I put it on the table, and the courtroom shut down. They said, we will not proceed until you turn that off. Because they don't want you to have a record. They don't want, what? But it's only supposed to be on a public record if you are in a court of record. Keyword, court. You're not in a court of record if they do not record. How many have been in these traffic meeting rooms, and the so-called stenographer, because they don't even have stenographers anymore, it's just somebody recording just like you were trying to do, right? Have you ever observed them? Some of you might want to take a visit to some of these traffic meeting rooms and observe what exactly is going on. Because the reporter person is taking her cue from the so-called prosecutor. The prosecutor will, I observed this, the prosecutor will give her the nod to record, and then will give her another nod to stop recording. It's the biggest scam going on, but you will never see it if you do not pay attention. Now, if it's your traffic issue, so-called traffic issue, right, and you want a transcript, they will charge you hundreds of dollars for the transcript because it's all about what? The generation of income. They don't call it income because they don't want you to know that they're extorting. They will call it revenue, and then they have a whole department called the Department of Revenue, right? Right? Now, where is the Department of Revenue usually? Where's the Department of Revenue usually? Is it a federal agency? Are we talking federal agency? What's that? We're talking municipal, right? So this is a municipal revenue department, right? Oh, goodness. Municipal. And in our studies, we know that municipal is what? What does municipal mean? Roman venue. Roman venue. Now, the fraud is that they call the demand for income taxes, right? Taxes, the definition of taxes, if you look it up in the Black Law Dictionary, it says that taxes is what is paid to maintain your government. Are you hearing what I'm saying? When did our government become Rome? Islam? Do you hear what I'm saying? This is why you have to know how to identify the party. Because if you say the party is the state, and you write a slanderous writ, and you name the government and the attorney general and the secretary of state, and they're not a party to it, you can be charged with slander. Crazy, isn't it? It's not really crazy. All of you are Moors. As a Moor proclaims declared, it means that you know law. When you put, I am a Moor of Maghrib al-Aqsa with a political jurisdiction of Moorish American National on any document, or you profess it from your mouth, you are saying, I have studied and I know law. I am not, hear me well, I am not flying by the seat of my pants. That's not Moorish activity. That does not identify you as a Moor. And if you operate and your demonstration shows you to be illiterate of law, you will be charged with identity theft. How many people know some Moors charged with identity theft? Y'all don't know? What? I have heard of some Moors that have been charged with identity theft. And it was absolutely surprising to me until I got a hold of their paperwork. Terrible, terrible. It is a travesty for a Moor to step into the arena unprepared. I am not one to acquiesce to any of these modern Europeans. However, if you find yourself in a situation and you are not ready, competent to deal with it from the lawful perspective, you need to just go ahead and give them the income they are trying to extort from you. I'm not a supporter of that, but it is better to just give them what they're asking for, because it's all fraud, and fraud has no statute of limitation. That means that you don't sit on your behind after you have been extorted. You're supposed to be mad as all heck. I know I would be. And the games will be on. I will be studying like a maniac. I will be crossing T's and dotting I's. I will get so deep in the history of everybody and everything that when I'm done writing that writ and I put it in the mail, it will be blazing a trail of fire from the post office to whoever receives it, and it will burn their hands. That's how mad I am. You cannot get into protecting your unalienable and inalienable rights, and you are wishy-washy. Not going to happen. You are being walked over and stepped on now because you are lacking information and you don't know. But this is your opportunity to educate and inform yourself so you, as the keepers of the peace of this land, are obligated to be, can put things back in harmony. Because it's each and every one of our responsibilities. Declaring yourself to be a Moor doesn't mean now you get all this free stuff. That's not what it means. Declaring yourself to be a Moor means that you are ready to step up to your obligation as a Moor. And in order for you to do that, you better have studied. Because I'm telling you, we're coming to a place in time where if you say you are a Moor and you are challenged and it is determined that you are playing, the universe is going to remove you. Because this is not a game. It is not a game. You see people who are getting murdered. We had Eric Gardner get murdered right in this area. It's not a game. We got mothers whose infant babies are being stolen right from under them. It is not a game. We got large amounts of people living on the street when there's empty buildings all around us. It is not a game. So trust me, if you are not ready to proclaim your nationality, do not do it. Because as soon as you proclaim it, as soon as you declare it to yourself, the universe is going to send you a challenge. Trust me when I tell you this. It happened to me. As soon as I declared my nationality to myself, the universe was like, all right, well, we're going to see just how true you are about your nationality. And I got a traffic infraction. And I was scared. I was like the scarecrow in the Wizard of Oz, going up to the wizard, shaking and everything. I was a scarecrow and a 10-man combined. And I did what Roz and Taj told me to do. I didn't question them. We got more questioning. All the, I talked to so-and-so, and he told me I should do it this way. So what? You're in a situation. You should talk to somebody who knows, who's been there, who's done it. I did exactly what they told me to do, cried through the whole thing, because I wanted them to do it for me. I'm so glad they did not do it for me. Trust me, I cried through the whole thing, but I did it. And I went into that courtroom. I did it, I hate to say this, on faith. But I needed that. I did it on their energy. And they ended up dismissing the case. I did exactly what they told me to do. I didn't change nothing. I didn't color up nothing. I didn't try to act like I was Mrs. Know-It-All. And I said less. I said less. You hear, less is more. Pun intended, all right? Less is more. And because I feel, this is my analogy, because my intent was honorable and I was willing and ready to do the work. I just hadn't had the opportunity. But my intent was honorable. The universe graced me. Because you better believe, after that incident, I was in the book. Islam, I was in the book, and I have not left the book since. And when you start studying and you start realizing just how deep the rabbit hole does go, like they said in the Matrix, you will never stop studying yourself, because there's so much lying that is going on. There's so much misinformation of our history that is going on, and we swallowed it hook, line, and sinker. We didn't question nothing. We didn't look up nothing. We didn't research nothing. I'm telling you, whatever you hear at Moor Heritage and History School or under that umbrella, you need to go research it. Don't take it on blind faith. Research all of the information that we are giving you. Research all of the information that you hear on the Blog Talk Radio. Research all of the information that you will find in all of these books. Research everything. And look up every word in your Blackclaw 4th edition dictionary, your unabridged dictionary, any dictionary prior to 1965, your etymology dictionary, and your Latin dictionary, and know for real what each word is, because trust me, you are not taught what words really mean. Because if you were, you would never, ever say to anyone, bless you. You would never, ever say that. Now, you might be wondering, well, why not? Think about this. Your aunts, your elders, your grandparents, did they all, when we got, I know in my family, when we got around the table, we were always told to say grace. In my family, we never, ever said, okay, now bless the food. It was always say grace. There's a clue there. Look it up. Now, because we're dealing with municipal corporations, how do we know they're municipal corporations? Does anybody know how we know they're municipal corporations? Anybody?
Well, you usually say they incorporated in a certain year.
True, but that came later. Anybody else? How many people is from this area? Where is everybody from this area? This area that they call New York City, near New York City? Because you know you can't be from New York City, right? You can't be. You know why you can't be from New York City? How many people know that New York City is, in fact, a corporation? How many people don't know? How many didn't know? All right. That's good. Don't feel bad because you didn't know, because you know what? Most of us didn't know until we started doing a little bit of research. We didn't know that New York City is a corporation. This is why we have to do some research. Did you have a question? Yeah. No, I'm going to explain that to you. A lot of these counties, well, how many people heard about the 13 colonies? How many people know that those 13 colonies started out as companies? How many people didn't know? Every single Union state started out and still is today a company. All of the 13 colonies received a charter to go into business from Charles I or Charles II of Great Britain. Did you know this? Who didn't know this? All right. These are companies. Every single union state is a company. Every single corporation, county, I'm sorry. Every single county is a company. It started as a company. So when you see the word, like the brother said, founded, established, there's another word. No. Founded or established, they're talking about a company. All right? Couple years later, this company will then incorporate. And they will give you the date. New York City was founded in, New York City, the name was changed, and it was founded in 1664. Prior to 1664, it was called Amsterdam, New Amsterdam, and it was a Dutch company under the East Indian Dutch Company or West Indian Dutch Company. All right? But it changed because there was a hostile takeover. You know about a hostile takeover, right? Today, we know it as a hostile takeover where the Duke of York was able to take over the sales territory of the New Amsterdam Company, and he changed the name from New Amsterdam to New York. It's all in the history. But it's a company. He was able to do this. The prophet said that you have an illustrious history. Who knew that the Duke of York was a Moor? Melanated. The Moors of Great Britain, they were called the brutish Moors because they did some brutal stuff to the modern Europeans. It's right there in the history. The only thing they did was they changed the people's facial complexion. But if you know who is who and what is what, you can decode the history. So the Duke of York did a hostile takeover of the New Amsterdam Company. He changed the name to New York, and it was a company, and guess what? It still is a company. In 1664, they were trading timber, fish, fur, feathers. Today, they are trading in human trafficking. And they made no rules about it. How many people have gone looking for a job, and the title of the place is called what? Human Resources. They're not trying to hide anything from no one because they're banking that we stay the party-loving people we have been for a long, long time and never study anything, not even how to get ourselves out of the jam we got ourselves into because we created this. Our ancestors did this, and all of us is simply the ancestors returned. So we come back to correct the wrong that we created. Islam? So in order for us to correct this, we have to do the necessary research. We have to swallow our fear and correct this wrong so that the next generation will live right. We are obligated to do this. And if we don't do it, the next generation will be in a more dire situation than we find ourselves in today. It is the young and the yet unborn. It is a travesty, absolute travesty for the Pope, a foreign immigrant. He identified it. He ain't made no bones about it. He said, I am a foreign immigrant. And he said it don't make no sense to come over here and see people sleeping on the street. I will never forget that. That was such a slap in the face. Who was he slapping in the face? It wasn't those foreigners. It was us. Us Moors. They're the ones that's obligated to protect our house. We are. And the only way that we're going to be able to do that is if we study. I mean really study. I don't mean half study. I mean study and don't do nothing until you are ready to back it up with law and history, not hearsay. Not because my friend's cousin told me. Not because Taj told me. Not because Papa Obadrelli came down and told you. But because you studied and you found the law and the history to support your position, because nobody can doubt or discredit law and history. Islam? Are you ready to take over? Let me see, what time is it? I got to check it? Really? I got to check it, so she will come and take over, and I will go and check the
I'm going to read something because I have to finish something that I started last night on the air. We're going to keep on going with that today. And next week, did you tell them you're going to do the written?
I did not. Waited for you to tell them.
No, I could have told them.
Yes, I waited. She's so good. You so good at saying it.
All right. What is the first thing that you started?
So insurance only $5,000 on $1,000.
I was not. You sure?
And where's the
He gave it to me. He said it was ready.
Oh, hold on. Let me give it to you. And let me. No, not.
I do something too like this. All right. No, once the second line 42 something went into some mode, but that wasn't my phone number, nor was it yours, so I don't know what it was. This one's on still?
Yes.
Point is, how many has gone to an attorney? Like I said, what is the first thing they've done when you went to an attorney? Everybody say, get you to decide something, leave some finance. Huh? Say it again? Consult. What's the first thing? Okay, so let me make it clear because just now what I said about the layman lawman didn't come out. Brother said I never went to an attorney, and I was making clear that you knew. You said I never went to a lawyer, and I was making clear that we knew that a lawyer and an attorney are not the same thing. Because a lawyer means layman, which means a civilian, and everybody in this room is a lawyer. Because civilian means to be skilled in the law. But see, everybody in this room would know that if they ever looked up the word.
Testing.
When you're doing what we're doing, I heard that through here. When we're doing what we're doing with these classes, anybody else is teaching you, then what we're saying is, I'll cut this off. And what is being by all this, you know the law, you know, if you're a Moor, you know the law, is that you're supposed to be at minimum a civilian, even if you thought you were a civilian, excuse me, I didn't mean a general.
Right. You on?
No.
All right.
At minimum, you're supposed to, as a civilian, you're supposed to know the law. That's where layman comes from. That's where lawyer comes from. So don't call these people lawyers. This is where our mistake is. An attorney is an attorney at law. He is one who is practicing law. He is one who is at law. An attorney, period, is hired for a something that cannot do for itself, period. So nobody should be hiring an attorney. Even though I know as you go through this process, you have not cut off that thread of attachment yet, but you don't feel comfortable yet of connecting with those things. Because it is a process of an exorcism and a baptism that must go down in order for you to. Because all this junk has been put in our head in terms of wrong teaching that it has become who we are in essence and in error. Or in error essence. So, hold on before you call, hold your question. So what I'm saying is for next week, there will be, I don't believe it, there will be a class right here on how to write a deposition, but the deposition slash, truly we're talking, which is a deposing, which I'm giving you a hint, which is a deposing, which is called a right of action, or in this case would be a right of action. And then my question was, what is the first thing that happens to you? That's on the attorney. Now, is that a question or an answer or both? What about it? No. That's the first answer. Look it up. To me, attorney like attorney general, whatever. Corporations. So now think about it. This is why I tell people, one thing you stop talking about is attorney general. That is not a term anymore. I'm a prime minister. That's not a term for more. That's British terminology. See what I'm saying? See? Because an attorney, absolutely. So, that's why every state has an attorney general. Because they're a corporation. Well, ex-real means ex-relational, and it means that you have knowledge, information regarding that wrong gear that everybody wants to call a straw. It's a noun gear. Which means a name that was, it means a name, a fiction, a war name, a name assumed for a time. Pick any one of them that feels comfortable to you. Because all three of them is equivalent to what a noun gear is. A name, a fiction, noun gear, a fiction. And that's all of these names at birth certificates that you've been answering to that is not you. But yes, you have information regarding it. Yes, you have information regarding it. So you ex-rail it. Because you have information in regards to it. Because ex-rail means that you have information. Now, who are the only two people on the planet that can even use the term of ex-rail to prove to you? And that is either the Attorney General or a person in their proper custody. That's it, that's all. So it's already there. It's already rolled out for you. You see? And that brings me back to like what we're saying is that so again, the first thing that happens when you go to an attorney, well, you know what? If you would even look up what impropria, hey brother, wow, see, if you would ever look up what impropria persona means, It clearly adds for clarification that the use of an attorney, that a person must plead to a court, must be done. This is the definition. In proper person. Because if it's not, and if it's done by an attorney, it immediately gives me, with this jurisdiction, to the court. And it does. An attorney, you hire him, he takes you, and he leaves your butt right there and walks away. He just gave you leave to the court because you hired him, because you just said that you can't speak for yourself. Could layman, lawman, lawyer, you'd be speaking for yourself and you wouldn't be hiring an attorney. Do you understand that now? The person at law is, what is it? What is the person in law? Status. Okay, we're doing good now. That's what they just did. That's what just happened. Excuse me. We got to stop talking about what state did and start talking about what you need to do. We need to do. That's what just happened. Why? Because no matter what you do or how you go, the first thing in law is status. I don't care. That's why I'm telling people, you think you can do all this stuff.
What's Chris Dansby's name of his business?
Civic Redemption, which we're going to. Woo! That's some great in the set.
Hello? Yo, man, listen to me real quick.
It doesn't matter what you do if you haven't established the fundamentals of your status. None of it matters. You want to enter into a contract, you want to do commerce, no problem. But what's your function and status going into the contract or coming out? It is the fundamental first thing. And everybody wants to do everything, has wanted to do everything but that. So first thing is law status. You just establish your status and you put yourself in there with your authority. I mean, it's bogus, but you understand what it is. And some people, sometimes these things may have happened to all. I remember when I had an attorney before in my life, I'm sure many of you have too. You know, thought you was doing something, right? But the point is that this time and era, the gig is up. The pulling of the noose is closer. The rising of the consciousness from the base of the pyramid to the top is here. And you have got to know, because nobody can know for you. Nobody can know for you because why? We use logic. You can only be what you know. So then we go back to the study part. You know, so you can know something. Right? Got it. So when people say study, I don't know, can't you represent us? And can't you represent us? And why can't you? Why you want to tell people they should nationalize and think you don't want to fix this? Because this is not a representative government. You're all touching this, right? Moors are not of a representative government. They established a representative government for foreigners. It's called the United States of America. They need a representation on your ancestral state. Let me get that clear. I have found that is the part that is the mistake. Why? I'm going to show you why. We are going to discuss where is the fake food. Here we go. Because I am really a little bothered and so might you be. There. That. And for all those listening, we're going to go back over something. The reason why Moors are getting their behinds clamped up right now on identity theft, y'all getting charged with all getting charged with, what is it? What's it called? Identity theft now? You might know what I'm talking about, huh? Identity theft and frivolous claims. Want to know why? It's not new, but do you want to know why? Because the fundamentals of what the heck you're doing is missing. The fundamentals of who you are has been missing. And you ran out doing stuff as you thought you needed somebody to represent you who you paid, maybe paid some finance to do it for you, and it is wrong, because they didn't know what that. Yeah, they were doing either, because the fundamentals was missing from that too. Like I said, it doesn't matter what you do, you know how the fundamentals of your status. What is status? Status is the first issue of law, right? right? Saying it for years. What is status? One might want to ask themselves. If it's the first issue in law, let me go see what that means. Status is a very simple, interesting piece of the puzzle. Well, it's the first thing in law, but when you read it, you're like, wow, this is not really complicated. Because status means, it's like you think you know what it means, or you repeating it out of your mouth. You remember it too? Do you know what it means? Hold on. Where's the microphone? Where's the microphone? Give the brother here the microphone. He wants to give the definition of status. Oh, I don't care. Just spit what you know. All right. It's now. It's on, I think. And yeah.
It's
There you go. But not too close because these people listening in the blog nation, because it shows. Okay, got it.
Status is the state.
It's your relationship.
Yeah, it's the state, the condition. It's the legal relationship of an individual to the rest of the community.
That's it.
And it's a few more to it.
All right, that's right. That's right. You got the gist and the fundamentals of it because it said, give the brother here. Because it actually says, to clarify when it first comes on, it says. Go ahead.
Now he gave the definition of status. What's the difference between status and?
All right, cool. He said he gave the
I was asking, what is the difference between status and standing?
Okay, very good. We're going to let you answer that first. Let's say it's this status. Status is the first issue at law, right?
Right.
It means your relationship to the community. Can we repeat that enough? Status means your relationship to the community. Status means your relationship to your community. Come on. But it is not. This is in the book. Just a mere relationship. It is a legal one. Yeah, now do we understand why status is the first issue in law? You want to talk about legal stuff? What is your relationship to your community? Because that's what status is. Now, the folks just came and told the Europeans they were immigrants to the community, right? What's your relationship to the community? Now, if this is, you claim to be an Aboriginal, Indigenous, Moor American national, which is free to be, free, you know what I mean, right? Then why are you then saying in some redemption processes and legal notice processes that this is going to be used in the United States of America, or even in Japan, or in China, or in Antigua, or in Morocco in the West that you think you're dealing with, right? Why are you saying that when you said that you are the Moor American national, right? So that means you're dead on American, you use it in America. That's expatriating you out of the American ancestral estate when you do that. And then the people see to you and they advise you. They advise you this. This is important. This is a part of someone's redemption program. Or someone, I'm going to show you how you make your legal notice when it's so simple. Legal lawful notice means giving notice. It doesn't mean asking permission. It means I'm putting you on notice that I am a more American national, and this is my ancestral state. Hello, I'm awake. It's now, I'm awake. That's all you got to say. You ain't got to wait for somebody to approve it. But then when you go and take that paperwork to a state or a county and say, can you please authenticate with your seal, you just ask them to approve it. And so that's why they're coming after you, because they don't know what the hell you're doing. The Great Seal is the Great Seal. There's no other seal superior to that. It's the seal that comes off of the symbols of civilization. If you study the astrology, it really shows you how it comes off of the harmonies. Man must learn by finding the symbols. The greatest seal is the Great Seal. They don't have a Great Seal. They have a seal. They might want to call it great. But it isn't the Great Seal. The Great Seal is the Moorish Nation Governance Seal. Matter of fact, let me tell you how simple it is. The only thing going on this planet, right, with this right here, is the Great Seal or the Eagle. That's it, and that's all. That's it. That's from nothing else. Nothing else. So so-and-so went over here and started a nation over there. It's just a society of some kind. It ain't no nation. It ain't got jack to do with nation of it. Because the only thing is the Great Seal or the pyramid, which is the Great Seal, ancient Samoan civilization, or the Eagle, which we authorized when we allowed them to come over here in freedom to do business and commerce. And then gave them the law of the land, which is the Constitution, which is why popular, which is why we say to enforce it. Because it's the law of the land. And every bay in here, every sun in here, we threw it out the feds. I'm seeing in here that it has a feds on it, don't have a feds on it. You are a fed because it's obey the law. That's you. Obey the law. There it comes, right there. Obey, there it is, the law. You better obey. Enforce the Constitution to protect the children, the hope, the family. But everybody's thinking with the European mindset, looking at what they're going to do for them, then wondering what's up. You know what I'm saying? Because the nation starts from the womb. The woman, she comes in with the nation, and she, every time she has a baby, she lays the law down. That's it. That's all. So now let's get back to why somebody would go give a legal notice and say, please put your Great Seal upon my... Oh, and this is the part I want to make it clear. I didn't make it clear last night. I want to make it clear this morning, this after this night. How dare it you to say, enclose... Now, this is why people are getting identity fraud. You want to know why the identity charges... what is it? Stolen identity? Identity theft? Identity theft now? Identity theft. Identity theft. Is that it? Here's why. Y'all ready? Remember you said X-Rail, right? Remember everybody knows, oh, that's not really, that's a straw. They call it a straw. It's really a nom de guerre for Moors. And they know it ain't really them because it's in all caps, because after all caps means, you know, a corporation. Everybody says all that. Oh, I'm a more American national. Here's my please enclose fine a copy of both my alludio, meaning there is nothing higher than that. American National Identification Card. I want to throw up. How would you give that to them? To authenticate? Are you serious? It's illegal. This is a process that some Moors out there are doing to other Moors, called some form of birth certificate redemption crap. Listen to this, or redemption crap, or legal notice crap. Whatever they want to call it, who cares? There's only one way, and that is to say, I declare that I am. And I'm going to put you on notice, and I know that notice is lawful. That law is notice, so I'm going to give you a legal notice and state stuff. Now, what you do with it, I really don't give a damn. What you do with it, you can throw it in the trash. You can do what you want to do with it. But I don't need you to put it in your record of deeds because I'm not no daggone corporation. I don't need you to file it in anything you have because I'm giving it to you because we actually record stuff. We don't file checks. So I don't need you to file it. You see what I'm saying? I don't need you to decide that you're going to create a miscellaneous file for the legal notices, lawful notices, because if it's lawful, it's legal. But if it's legal, it does not mean it's lawful. Everything lawful is legal. Everything legal is not lawful. Just like this, you're aboriginal, your dad's your indigenous, but if you're indigenous, that don't mean you're aboriginal. These distinctions must be made. So now you're saying, enclosed, please file a copy of my local American National Identification Card and my state identification credentials. I said anything. Let's go get them. You just admit that you are what you call fraud, the nom de guerre. Case county, Secretary of State, then to the Department of State for the major apostille. Yeah. So the county said, oh, okay, we'll administer this. Did you say you are this? Sure. Hey, state, look. They said, got it in our records. You got it? Okay. Yeah, we're gonna notarize that too. They want us to know. Matter of fact, they asked us to be proper notaries. These Moors said whether we are proper notaries. Letters included. Prove to me that you are giving your notary. Who gives a thing? You see what I'm saying? It's right here. So I trust it. I hope that this is a lovely American National Identification Card that we make and more than anyone else may make. Because this is disgusting. Do you want? I am just disgusted at it. I can't believe that you would get in the rodeo, American, national, ID, and then expatriate out of your land and say, this document will be used in the United States of America. There is no such thing as the United States of America other than it's a piece of paper, a corporation that we established to occupy the land as the States of America, called the United States of America. But it has no power over the land, except for what we've obviously given them. And on top of that, you're expatriating out to somewhere else other than your American land. But you just said that you are the rodeo American national. Royal American national. Do we get it? Are you getting it? This is absolutely absurd. Absolutely absurd. You can't say you're a War American national and then go do some papers to say that, I'm at church right now. I'm no longer this, no longer gear. All you got to do is X-rail that. That's what X-rail is for. You are aware that it's a fiction. It was a fiction when they created it after your mother said that you were going to be whoever you were going to be. They quickly ran and said, all right, John Smith, I'm back home. Put the bomb down. Never was you from the door. You just answered to it. Now, you know it never was you, but you won't go let them know. Yeah, let me, this is my state credentials. They don't have no credentials for you. It's funny, right? Like the state has credence when you establish them to even exist on your ancestral state. But the thing is, you said you were the Moor. You said you had an rodeo American national identification. More American, right? And then you went to a serious. And you confused them. So that's why they still out there with these nets grabbing all you. I don't know why this doesn't work, because you don't work. They eat from the food in their plate is from our ignorance and our virtues at the same time, and they are confused about this Moorish thing going down. Well, I thought they had it. Hey, what did they say? You ain't got it yet. That's so pissed. It ain't funny. But this kind of stuff right here is ridiculously crazy, man. Look. From the Secretary of State, please enclose the cover letter stating the name of the country in which this document will be used. Excuse me? These people filling this out. And then they go, wait a minute. Brother Ali, they said the United States of America. Not even American land. They should have said America. They ain't going to say anything. Because these people that are in these states, they know they're not Americans. They know that they are the United States of America. And in case they forgot, their father came and reminded them that they're not Americans. But you won't say American because you think the United States of America and American is the same thing. And it isn't. How simple is that? Prophet Noor Ali said, enforce the Constitution's first law preamble says, we ain't the people doing that. We the people of the United States, which is the United States, North, South, Central, and the Joining Islands. Do what they in this Constitution for who?
Now take them apart.
Two different entities. It's right there. So we had to enforce the Constitution right there. And it doesn't matter what we had it done. Let's do it now. So why do we do it? How do we do it now when we're brainwashed? How do we do it now when we're still in mental slavery? I'm not very up. Hey, this is the part where only divine Only the divine mother can help you. Only divinity can help you. You need to take off the ego and get with the divine. That's all going to help you get this straight right now. Not to be concerned about, I've done this for 30 years. Well, guess what? That was a lie. That's a lie. Then you got all these people going out telling you how to do these redemption processes. This is in the whole concept of it. We already knew was wrong. The whole concept of let me go and authenticate a birth certificate, that means it represents an exchange, a financial exchange. It's a bond. It's human trafficking. It represents human trafficking in its essence. And you want to go say that you are that or have anything to do with that. Or, the good one, we're going to chase it down so that we can control the debt. That's not right. You don't even have it. We always knew that was wrong. We always expressed that it was wrong. But we knew that just like with the UCCs, when people thought they were gaining their sovereignty, it was going to wash back and come back at us. And so we say, not, but we just give not just the information, but why. And it's okay. Because you can come back and you're doing 20 years later, we're going to say the same thing. Why? Because it's the same thing. The fundamentals, none of it is going to work for you. You can go out there and do all you want, spend all the money you want. It ain't going to work because you don't have the agency, period. So now it's identity stepping in. Loving it. Because you're saying that you are. But wait a minute. If it's identity theft, could you bring the body in there that's soul? Oh, no. I thought that y'all knew. Y'all said y'all knew. RVBey publications and all these places that Cynthia Birth Certificate was a fiction. Why are you coming to claim it? Why do you want to be a party to it? Oh, you want to be a party to this fraud. Oh, hell no, I'm not going to let you go. You just gave me ammunition, which is all that we do because we're vampires. They are. We suck the bloodline of people, didn't you know that's what colonists do? So you're going to have to get out a lot more to untangle yourself from that. And now to have given them the ability to stay in this awesome rise of Moor consciousness, or, honoring of your mother, ancient foremothers and forefathers. That's really all it is. You know what I mean? So that your days in this earth plane will be long. That's really all it is. Right? And this awesome time period, here we come with a bunch of, fluffers, yeah, man, you got to do this and do this birth certificate, but we're going to get a piece of the money, and in 6 months we're going to get our money. There is no money. Don't you know that? Right? So now that comes in, and now the whore's got to get caught with identity theft in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years. And try to figure out how to get out of it, which if you had knowledge, you would know. But you don't have knowledge, because if you had knowledge, you wouldn't have done that in the first place. So what it is that you needed to learn, that you should have sat and studied to learn, you are forced. Uh-oh. Forced what? Made changes. Y'all might not know Prophet Albert Global Dry Lead, that you're going to be forced to make changes. That's where we are. I'm a little bothered, because I put a lot of energy. If anybody took the Colonial American National Identification Project, that's what we talk about, because that's what we titled it, because that's what it is. And they actually did this shot, and they gave them a picture of themselves, too. You know what I mean? That's just like going down, letting them know what you're doing and how you're doing, none of it ain't good. Somebody got a claim, come with it. They don't have a claim, leave me alone. I'm private, right? So the fact that they were given I'm not concerned about that. But the truth of it is, everybody deserves to have their own identification card. Everybody deserves an identification card. You don't see them not giving you what they call an identification card just because you might not know with third grade. They still won't give you an identification card. You can get a driver's license too. I mean, that's not the point. But the point is in this great rise to do this and to take the Colonial American National Identification status that you say you have in card and then do something like this. Who told you to do that? Where did you get that from? What were you thinking? And there is no excuse, because You cannot say, I'm doing this to use it in the United States of America, and you're giving it to the people who are of the corporation of the United States of America. So I don't get it. What is the purpose? Did your hand up? Oh. All right. You can't do that to say that. What was the purpose of this? And then, because we get so much authority, he went to go the other way. Oh, no, he has the mic. Give the other mic to Anna E. And then, because you think in your mind, oh, did you have your hand up? You forgot what you wanted to say? Okay, go ahead. Answer your question.
Thank you. So, what I was going to ask, so I'm not sure if it's the same thing as birth certificate redemption, but as far as I've heard a lot about, and there goes that hearsay for instance, but mailing in or sending, like you're supposed to send back your birth certificate, your social security card, and your driver's license, all these things that associate you as having a contract.
None of those are contract stuff.
So, okay.
But anyway, go ahead. Okay.
Well,
so
is the question.
the driver's license a contract? No.
Hmm.
You know what? The driver's license, the social security, and the birth certificate to mail it back, any of those things that associate you with having a contract. We want to be clear that none of those items are contracts. I know you want to comment on this. One is Social Security is not a government agency. It is a private insurance policy. It's a corporation. That's it. That's all. Two is birth certificate is a bond, which means it proves human trafficking, and if anything, you should at least recognize it as human trafficking. It's toxic. You shouldn't even want to touch it. Anybody asks for birth certificate, you should look at them like, oh, what? No, that's an instrument to prove human trafficking. I'm not attached. You understand? And then the driver's license, well, the driver's license is not a contract because, one, there's two signatures on there, too. Did they make any disclosure as to all of the things? Did they disclose all that to you? No. 3, it's a federal program which he's going to explain because the people really need to understand what it is. And it also represents the violation of the people's rights to travel. But the trickery on it for them is, it's like, no, this is for people who do commerce. This is for people who do commerce. Oh, are you doing commerce? No, I'm going to see grandma. Well, then it doesn't apply to you. But you make it like I gotta have one just to go to see grandma. Yeah, because it works very well for y'all. Y'all been teaching your children for generations to go to high school and get that driver's license until it has become part of the culture and part of your culture. What has become your culture has become how we make money to feed our children. Duh. So you want to explain to them what the driver's license program actually totally is? I just wanted to, yes. I just wanted to, one last thing here. I guess I might not do this. Here. So I wanted to say this because then he's going to explain that to you. And next week of the class on how to write a deposition will be done. Sit down and eat. So I'm going to write this. I'm putting this up on the site, but I want you to listen to it very carefully again. Thank you. This is to everybody who's ever put any interest of getting a card, of nationalizing. Everybody says, I want to nationalize, I want to nationalize, I want to nationalize, I want to nationalize. How many nationalize? There really is no such thing as nationalize. You know that, right? So here it is. Thanks for your interest and your activity. However, the universe thanks you more. Declaring your nationality and or nationalizing first begins in your mind. In being clear, and of course, that also requires study to know who you are by natural descent and then begin being who you are and know the distinctions of who and what has jurisdiction, which means right word, over you. That's what jurisdiction means, jurisdiction, right word. No one can change your descent nature. No one. There really is no such thing as nationalizing. It is about being clear or declaring to yourself first. That's why the prophet said if you do nothing else, declare it. That means be clear. Proclaiming is when you publish them. Declaring does not have to have anything to do with printing a damn thing. So if you don't do nothing else, you don't even own the piece of paper. Who you are. to declare your nationality is nothing else. The term nationalizing is used loosely to indicate your awareness in self and honor of your ancient foremothers and forefathers, who are, without doubt or contradiction, the mothers and fathers of civilization and civilization principles, inclusive of governing principles, which is the people governing their mental, government, governing the mental. And as the first navigators upon the earth plane, coming from the spirit into the flesh, ab-original. Don't let nobody take ab from you either, because some people say, we're not aboriginal, we're just original man. But if you're original man, then you're a woman, because original man is woman, man. We are aboriginal, coming from the beings that is coming from, the ab means coming from first, the first spirit. That's why it's divine and national movement. So we're coming from the spirit into the flesh, manifested into the flesh. We are aboriginal, to be distinctive from those who are not, who may be indigenous to that part. But we're the first navigators. So, and if you look up the word Moor, it means to navigate along water, right? As a transitive, it's a verb, and as a noun, it's a person, place, thing. But as transitive, it means it's associated with the water, correct? You know that, right? And so would you think to yourself, what was it? Ocean? Well, that's consequential because the ship has to be built, right? So how is it still associated by water by being a moor or mooring? Because the first stages of development, the first water that you traversed on was the 7 stages of development in the waters of your mother's womb, who gave you your nationality, and that's the only place it comes from. And so, so you got to get back to that to get this straight. So when you navigated on those waters of their mother's womb, and I'm saying this because I see some people who may or may not have known this or heard this before, and others may have, and you get cut from her navel and become a navigating L on the earth plane. That's what that's about, navel, navigating L, right? So you are from that water originally, intrinsically, physically in the physical manifestation. Never forget that. That's your origin. That's not hard to get. Well, it ought not. Well, so that's where your nationality comes from. So the reason why we tell you there's no person, especially no male person, that's going to go out and start a damn nation, that's ego of the male son to even think that they're going to go out and start a nation. It's a disorder and a disrespect to women. Because she comes here with the nation. Period. So we got to get that straight. Because a lot of people will run after that. Here's go over here, you start a nation. No, he's not. He can't start a nation. She's here with the nation. She is the nation. I have a greater respect for women, though. So, which is what the prophet has in his book. Now, here's the simplicity. There existed a treaty between the Moors of Great Britain and Morocco, Morocco, which we call America today. And this brought European Slavics over here as workers on as workers on the original plantation. They are the indentured slaves. They were the original slaves. Everybody knows that now, right? All right. For their freedom, and after a succession of acts such as the Articles of Association, the Declaration of Independence, etc., the Treaty of Peace and Friendship, which still is enforceable today, all right, was established to allow them now, the modern Europeans and their descendants, to come here in peace rather than in slaves. Got it? Got it? That's why they say that they wanted to come here to Ellis Island to have a better life for their children. It's all reversed. Or Bonneville, which is one of the plantations called the Bonneville. On the Bonneville. That's right, Bonneville. Okay, inclusive of Ellis Island and their descendants to sail here freely. And then the Constitution came 9 months later. They've made that real quick. 9 months later, the Constitution came after the treaty to sail on the water. and they came part of it, so they can have freedom and they can do commerce. And here y'all are, all up in, yeah, they doing commerce. We're going to find out how they doing the commerce. Really, that's your problem. They came here to do commerce. You're all up in that, but you won't enforce the Constitution, which is the law of the land that they're doing commerce on. And now, since you won't do that, then they made you commerce. And you're the original merchant. With no merchandise. Our Canadians go to this, yeah. All right, which is law. So the Constitution came, which is the law of the land, established as the rules of behavior and engagement for them upon the land, so that the natural people, or really that all and any people, would not be molested by other people and by other untoward acts or omissions of acts like other citizens who are upon the land. Having known what you already said, enforce the Constitution, so you are not molested by other citizens. You didn't do it, so you're being molested by other citizens. You think you are the citizen. You think you're a citizen of the United States of America. They love it. Who was thinking that when he said I was a citizen? Oh, you didn't think it was European because you think this is their stuff. You think this is their land. That's clear that you think this is their stuff. That's clear that you think that they're the authority. You keep giving them the authority that they don't have, but you give it to me that I got it. And I don't want to give it back. I don't want to give it back because I don't know how I'm going to feed myself. We came here to have a better life. But you can if you enforce the Constitution and nobody's molested. Everybody will be everything will be all right because we didn't really put you in slavery. They did. Our cousins, British Moor did. We didn't. We trying to make peace here. The peace doctrine is already existing in this Constitution. That's what she's going to go through. She has. Did you go through that? Okay. So, we're going to do that on the meeting next week, too. All right. I thought you already did that before we got here. You didn't get to. All right, so here we are. Any public trustee. All right, so that we would not be molested by citizens. Any public trustee, public official, has the duty of preserving, protecting, and securing these liberties and the unalienable, inalienable rights of birth of the people. That's how you know they're not government. They don't know what they're doing. Easy, right? It's so easy. Why do we keep fighting it? Why would you having such a strain? It should be pretty obvious, right? It should be pretty obvious. Why we got to keep fighting that? If we all turn this thing around together, it'd be over with overnight. But no, we want to go do this. No, we want to go. All right. So unfortunately, because we have not enforced the law regarding our own protections of liberty, we have in fact been molested by those other citizens who are lawbreakers and often operate as a supposed government entity. Although these happenings may be because of what we were taught or not taught, yet and still, ignorance of the law is no excuse. Amen? Lawmen? These actions of employees of esteemed government entities wherein they hinder, choke, beat, and murder the people and the citizens. Remember, Papa said, my people and the citizens, my people and the citizens, because they're citizens and you're national, is an act of a standing army of foreigners and immigrants who are tenants of this land. That's why when they give you a mortgage agreement, they call you a tenant, right there in the mortgage agreement. Trusts, charters, patents, deeds, mortgages are all indications of a tenant agreement, which means use of the land and the resources. They're using your land and resources. It ain't the other way around, right? They came over here through Ellis Island and other things, right? They know that they're not, this ain't their own, right? That's your stuff they're using. We act like we're the foreigner. Oh, I'm the foreigner. You're foreign to them and they're foreign to you. That's why foreign don't mean far away. They're the main power also, but you're not the foreigner, not you. And we act like we are. And that's why we go and have them to authenticate our documents, because we don't get it. We think this is their government. They're quasi-national domicile. You're a national domicile. It don't matter what state of disarray we're in, we're still a nation. They're in state of disarray right now, too, but they're still who they are, right? They're going to hold on to that. We're the United States of America, but we're not the Americans. Why we got to let go of law? Doesn't matter what condition it's in. Let's get it in right condition. And the only way to do that is to know government, is to know law. It's not complicated. But you can't know government and law by what they teach you because they're not teaching either of that. When you go to law school and these classes online, that shit is color of law. Go look up color of law. That's what it is all day long. It doesn't even deal with status. It's called color of law. And although there's some semblance of realities or connections, it still says that color of law is a semblance of law or without. And then Prophet Charlie said color is that which is stained, varnished, and dyed. Trying to let you know there's nothing colors. And you're not colored people either. So you're going to go learn law by learning that crap that they're teaching up on those things, and you think you learned something and you ain't learned yet. And that's why he said the longer you stay in those institutions of learning, the higher you will jump to defend it, but you will fool right on. And then he told you to go get a good European education. Why? Because you didn't know that the European education is yours. Because you're the one who taught it to them. And that you can't know your history without knowing European history. So he sent you in that direction so that you could do what? Study some more. But you only want to study a little. So I'm gonna hold this up. These actions of employees of the seen government entities wherein they hinder, choke, beat, and murder the citizens is people and citizens is an act of a standing army of foreigners and immigrants who are tenants of this land. Trust, charters, patents, deeds, mortgages are all indications of the tenant agreement, which means use of the land and the land resources. You can read the Magna Carta and get a better understanding of that. The standing armies are in violation of Article 1 of the law of the land, whereas they're using conveyances and ordering horses, but it's still a standing army in time of peace. All right? Got it. We must clearly see that a quiet war and atrocious violations of the law have perpetrated and waged war against the people. However, it is bureaucratic only and deceiving based on our lack of knowledge. That's the only reason why it can even happen. Okay? It is particularly disturbing to know that this is being done to generate income for their coffers and is disguised as commerce, which is one of the reasons they were allowed to come freely here after the treaty and the Constitution in the first place, to do commerce. Remember, they were going to grow food, That was their passport. That was their passport. That's what the banner was for. That was it. That's all. We all up in there, though, right? Crazy. These acts disguised as commerce is really human trafficking and money laundering. That's what it is. For them, to you, because you don't know. That's all. That's the only reason why. Any interest you have in their commercial activities is moot. MOOT, right, Dave? And it has nothing to do with you. Other than you, of course, and all, make sure they don't ruin it. So are you still interested or are you more interested? And this was to go on the site, and it says, if you become interested in making your own judicial notice and public proclamation under the Great Seal, not under that, under the Great Seal that we displayed last week and showed where it comes from. You see it all the time. It's on the dollar. It's on the note. That's the agreement. All right. The Great Seal of your national government, and not under a seal of any state of the United States of America, which is a foreign quasi-national domicile. We assist with that purpose. Our name correction. The name correction is to correct the nom de guerre because it has no seal or bay, which is the title to the land and state of which you are direct descendants and inheritors of. To remove those titles is an act of a quiet war against the natural people of the land, and is a remarkable silent weapon, remarkable bullet that's a silent weapon to remove those titles. This remarkable silent weapon bullet is disguised as a situation, and especially and only is it so if you are simply not aware. Yeah, wake up here in the morning. We suggest you read the page on the site, RVBey website, entitled National Identification Card and Proclamation. Upon reading the information in the documents for those two public notices, just those two public notices, which is lawful notice, meaning not asking for permission. Read them, though. Upon reading the information in those two public notices, you will get more clarity as to all that pertains to you and making your claim and status correction. You're not ready? Don't do it yet. Only because it has been publicly assumed and accepted that you are not a natural person. It's an assumption that you are not aboriginal indigenous to the land. Instead, it is assumed that you are a corporate person, and you will find most of those entities that are seen as government are really corporations, which is why it's important that you must make a name correction and understand that RVBey is the title. Therefore, because when they do title searches, they're searching for the RVBey, which is the title. Therefore, if you ask for their permission, for their seal of authentication on your load of documents, affidavits, etc., you are saying that you are, in fact, under their jurisdiction, and they know that, even if they do not tell you, and they will not tell you. The United States of America and all the states that are under it, the states have no legislative authority. The Article 2 of the American National Republic Constitution, wherein they do have executive authority, which means they can enforce the law that already exists, the laws of the land, but they cannot make any new ones. Therefore, and they do it all the time through statutes, therefore, they create statutes, which is English law, and doesn't apply to you, and policies, procedures, and ordinance, which are all corporate, and they don't apply to you, none of which is law. So, see Article 6 of the Constitution for that support. Your compliance to them boldly says by your own admission that you are a court, dead in the eyes of the law, civil little more too. Therefore, cannot speak for yourself and must have someone else to do so as in an attorney, which can only speak for courts and corporations and matters that cannot speak for themselves. All of their courts are probate courts. You just found that out, right? They're not even really courts, which serves orphans and minorities. That's why they call so-called black people minorities, to fit right into that. And those unable to speak for themselves from birth, because when you die, then they take you to the probate court too. That's it. Now, although they have assumed that you are either under their jurisdiction for whatever reason, disclosed or undisclosed, there can be no assumptions in law. Therefore, you must declare your status, make your legal notice, your lawful notice, which is legal, which is your relationship. Declare your status, which is your relationship to the community, and it indicates your lawful and legal one. This sets the stage for matters regarding jurisdiction. The status does. That sets the stage for jurisdictional issues. And in the manner in which you will navigate and handle your affairs. Upon doing so, you will link yourself back to the family and nation, not to any family and corporation, or to any English law, which is a hybrid. And if you look it up, it's the next level study right here. So I'm dropping it and ending it right here because it's the next level study of the study. In Oxford Dictionary, it clearly indicates that an Englishman is but a hybrid. It's in the definition. And Oxford Scholars, that's what it says. So, the English law is for hybrid, modern Europeans, and not for natural people. That's wrong.
Islam? All right. Now, I want to go back to things. I think somebody asked about a question of standing, right? The difference between status and standing. You know what status is, right? How many people know what standing is? Standing is really, really cool. But, brother, you said something. You was explaining something. Did you finish explaining what you were saying? No.
If you need it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, where's the mic? You gotta use the mic because it's going over the air.
Yeah, pretty much explained it. I was asking if, with the birth certificate redemption, if you would have to send in, would you have to send in? I was asking if the birth certificate, the Social Security card, and the driver's license, if all of these were contracts, because these are things that are like widely stated as to what you should do to get your sovereignhood or your naturalization. Yeah, exactly, yeah, to be a national, like they're saying that you would have to send in birth certificate, send in your Social Security card, send in your driver's license. And when she was stating the letters in which, I guess,
No, I wanted to hear what you were saying something, and I don't think I wasn't sure. Did you finish?
Well, yes, because she literally started to answer the questions.
All right, so you're
right
clear
there.
on what a contract is?
Oh, well, no.
No.
No, that's
all right. How many people here know what a contract is? All right, a contract. I'm only rolling in and out, but I just read this down. All right. A contract. In order for something to be a valid contract, all right, there must be an offer, right? There must be acceptance, right? There must be equal consideration, right? So if I'm putting down 50, you're supposed to put down 52, right? And there must be full disclosure, right? And no contract can be entered into under what? Threat, duress, or coercion. Any of those documents that you named, do they meet the qualifications? None, right? Exactly. Now, yes, that would be full disclosure, because you gotta, and you have to have like minds. You have to be of like mind, right? But it's that like-mindedness falls under full disclosure, right? Because if I don't have mental competency, we cannot have full disclosure, right? Exactly. Now, brother asked about standing. Standing is an absolutely wonderful thing if you comprehend it. Standing says that the only people, keyword here is people, that can bring a claim is the one that is involved in the issue. Follow me? For example, if I steal his glasses, right, and he writes me a writ saying, hey, I think you by accident took my glasses, and either you have to return them for me or we need to talk about some sort of compensation or equal use or something. Let me know what your thoughts are. I need to write him back, right? Because it's between me and him, right? You follow me? Can he respond? Can he respond? Can she respond? Why? They were not a party to the issue at hand. So they cannot basically butt in. Now, why is that wonderful? Every time we as a people have a problem, it is who versus us. Where was the state when this claim issue went down? Wait a minute. Were they even on a piece of paper? Were they present? No one was present. Now, the state, a corporation, they're on paper. They let you know. But here's the crazy thing. first of all, none of us, no one of melanin, the American, original American, copper-tone people, none of us African descent, copper-tone people. That's why I wear my copper. I wear my copper. Copper-tone people. So if I go up to a European and, oh, where you got from? Oh, I'm an American. No, I don't think so. Copper-tone people. Oxford Dictionary, copper-tone people. You are a foreigner. But here's the thing. Corporations was the Union States, they were established to protect the people, specifically the modern European, but including all people. But we cannot be members of any of the Union States, ever, ever, ever. How do we know this? It's in the Constitution. If you read the history, there's no way that we, the Aboriginal indigenous people of this planet, can be members of the Union States because the Union States were protected, were created to protect the foreigners. We are not foreigners. Everybody's trying to go back to Africa. This is Africa. This is Northwest Africa. So you're already home. So stop trying to leave your home. But here's the thing. Hold on a minute. Here's the thing. These Union States, they were established to protect all people. Who are they warring against? Any of the Union States warring against the people? Is any of the Union States warring against the people? Are they? Are they really? No, they're not. It's not the Union States. This is a very slick plan that is in effect. And there is a fall guy, and you, every last one of you, need to know who the fall guy is and fall on them. The fall guy. Oh, wow. It's a beautiful plan. If you know it, what happened to the, oh, here it is. If you know who the fall guy is, because they're dangling out there without a paddle. They have no constitutional protection whatsoever. This thing is so dry. I'm going to use this. Oh, I had a magic marker. No, I did. I had one. It was here. Here we go. Now, most of the time, when our liberties are being violated, when we are attacked, who is it that kicks off everything? Who's the trustees? Trustees are violating you? What trustees? You mean the corporate security guards. Corporate security guards. And what is, I like corporate security guards. Why? Anybody know why I like corporate security guards? Because they work for a corporation. What is the name of the corporation? What does the corporation hide behind, come in disguise as, because we were not educated? What? No. What does the corporation come in disguise as? No. What is the municipality called? How do they refer to themselves? County. We're talking about the county. Now, if we did our research prior to 1664, there were no counties on this land. 1600, there were no counties. You know why? Because we were the merchants on this land, and we created merchandise and exchanged it with each other and around the world for the pleasure of it. All right? Now, the county is a corporation. We learned that in our studies. So whenever you see the word county, you need to know you're talking talking about a corporation. And exactly, it was established as what? A company. New York City started as a company established by the Duke of York in 1664 through a charter from his brother, Charles II of Great Britain. Sounds like nepotism to me. All right. This is how he was able to come over here and start a corporation by the name of New York. It was the Duke of York, and he just replaced New Amsterdam, which was a Dutch company, with York, established or founded in 1664, incorporated in 1784. What was incorporated? The incorporation that took place in 1784, I have the charter, it consolidated the subcorporations. The subcorporations today, some of the names have been altered slightly, is Brooklyn, the Bronx, Queens, Manhattan, and Long Island. Is that what they're? Long Island. Now, if you go back and you do the research, you will find that Brooklyn was spelled Brooklyn, something like that, but it was a Dutch spelling, and it's now Brooklyn. But they were all Dutch companies, and they were consolidated and created, and from that consolidation, they created the New York Corporation to have full authority over all of those sub-corporations. Those sub-companies were Dutch companies, and the Duke of York took them all over. Now they had to answer to the York Company, which later became a corporation. So now, let's look at this. The brother talked about, let's go get our birth certificate. What are you doing? What are you doing? You're going to the York Corporation saying, please give me my registration papers. Well, let's look at this. Please give me my registration papers, because these corporations were engaging in commerce. Their trade at the time was fish, timber, fur, feathers, and other things that they were trading, as well as their indentured servants, slaves. So they registered their fixtures. Following me? They registered their fixtures. If they had 100 pounds of timber, it was registered in the county because they made a count of the timber. Hello? And the person in charge of the county was the count, which is a form of a Moorish title, but it's for a job. Now, it really wasn't reserved to Moors because we were noble. So they would assign this title to their modern European who demonstrated that they had the king's best interest at heart. So he was elevated to count. So no, the count was registering the assets for the crown of Great Britain. So these registration papers that today are called was originally for the indentured servants. It was never supposed to be for Moors. Islam? So if you were in, and I'll tell you right now, most of the people are not compelled to have a birth certificate. You're not. Not from the door. We sign up for it because we've all been mentally conditioned to sign up for this as some form of status. And then they, over time, slow walk the sisters into believing that if you didn't list a father, loose woman, your child was born out of wedlock. This is a slow walk, mental conditioning. So then if you came up with a certificate and it didn't have a father on there, you were ridiculed. Those black people, they don't have fathers. It was all a mental conditioning because the significant piece of information that was left out is mother. You are the mother and the father. You always were. And that guy that protects you in the household, he is your son. He was never the father. But if they can get you to put lies on paper because of misinformation, because, see, they came up with this to make you feel like you got some status. Oh, yeah, I got a mother and a father on paper documented. And yeah, I'm going to take it off. See, I got the father to sign. The father signed. What you was doing is you was registering yourself and the baby as a slave, as commodities to the county corporation. But they slow walked us into believing it was some sort of a status thing. And then they turned around and they did it with the marriage license. I'm married now. I'm married. Remember in Color Purple? I'm married now. I'm married. Right? Same principle, different process. We go to the county and we say, I want my registration papers. You're not really saying that, but that's what you're saying. We have got to be able to do better at identifying. If you are going to get a certified copy of a birth certificate, you better be getting it to sit your behind down and write a writ of human trafficking, and that birth certificate is Exhibit A. Because there's no law that says you have to have it. And I hear people cackling about, oh, well, you can't get a job if you don't have it. Really? Maybe that's code for sue me, please. You're going, I need a birth certificate to get a license from the Department of Motor Vehicles, which, by the way, is a federal program, and the states get to participate. They're supposed to be administering this motor vehicle policy to commercial motor vehicles and commercial drivers only. It's right in their statute. But since we've been so miseducated, we go down there and we are signing up to have a driver's license and a motor vehicle, and register our vehicle. And these people that work there are as dumb as doorknobs. If you ask them a question, they're going to tell you, I don't know, or ask your legislature. Look, sister, I am melanated. It's not my legislature at all. And where does it say that my legislature, and as Rob said, according to the Constitution, can't nobody but Congress write law. So what did your legislature write that they had no authority to write? We got all of this ammunition. We sitting here talking about we broke. It ain't. You know why you broke? because ain't nobody sued nobody. They put all this out there. And it's not about getting paid. Let me correct you on that one, because these corporations are bankrupt. Ain't nobody using no money. We talked about the dollar bill, right? Was it last week or the week before? Where we showed that the dollar is no longer a lawful contract because they removed significant wording. What was the significant wording? Redeemable in gold or silver. So it really is a worthless piece of paper. So why would you want to go and sue somebody so they can give you a crap load of toilet paper? You want to sue them so that you and other people are protected from foreigners. And you need to keep it lawful according to the Constitution, because all of these union states are bound to protect the people from foreign and domestic invasion. And the driving instrument and birth certificate and even the Social Security card is all evidence of human trafficking. The counties are involved. They're demanding income from the people. They're not providing a product or a service. That last time I checked, Scarface, Al Capone, prison because of tax evasion. Why? Because he didn't have a product or a service. But he was getting income. That's called tax evasion, money laundering, human trafficking, extortion. But they turn around and charge us with that crap because we don't know nothing. We don't know nothing, and we're fighting to get our children put in these institutions so that they can be taught nothing. Not even how to protect themselves. So we, people, we're obligated to stand up. We're obligated to take note of what is going on. We have to be the ones to turn this around. It's nobody else's obligation. Look at the travesty of this. Many of us, some of us live in conditions that we want our children to have a better life. We don't want our children to go through what we went through, right? Now, I'm not beating anybody, no one up. We just need to think. Now, counties, these foreign corporations, all of them are the ones that established the schools, right? They're never going to educate the people on how the counties can no longer get rich off of them. It's never going to happen. We have to educate ourselves, and we never, ever should have had our children in these foreign institutions to begin with. But we had a couple of traitorous Moors who got everybody psyched up. They said, well, you want to have your children where those European children are too, because they got better books and they got better supplies and better tools and things. But if you read the 8th grade, what is it? The 8th grade test. 8th grade final public school test, which we was given in, what was it, 1856, 1895. All right? We was teaching our children in one room. We had different levels in the same room. Go and get the book and try to take the test yourself today. You will fail it. But somebody sacrificed to remove us from that excellent education to this excellent mental programming, mental conditioning. Now, what's really crazy is this is a foreign corporation, and foreign corporations cannot receive federal dollars. Did you know this? Exactly. Education, these public schools are funded by federal dollars. Those federal dollars come down from the international community simply because the heirs of this land live and breathe, specifically the mother and her child, because she's the one that brings forth the nation. So it's her head count that matters. Children. That's it. So they allocate income based on the head count of the mother and the child. Now the child includes the son. But you can't get nothing unless you acknowledge mother. Never. Because you are not the heir. She is. You do not acknowledge mother, you become an orphan, and your surrogate mother is the county corporation. So how do they get these federal dollars to these foreign corporations? They have us all go up in there and fill out documents that identify us as members of the Union State and that we are requesting finance so that we can engage in some sort of activity. And these institutions get to administer the finance that never trickles down to you. It's deep, isn't it? Every single corporation operates this way. Back in the day, Sunday, back in the day, they put out affirmative action. If you were to do an analysis of affirmative action, you will probably find that many corporations was on the brink of disaster. They needed new money. Where were they going to get the new money from? Because remember, we're not talking about gold and silver. Because in a bankrupt world, you're only talking about the movement of credit and debit. Where were they going to get the new money from? Exactly. And that's why they had everybody trust to human resources sign up under the affirmative action so that they can then open up an everlasting funnel. Whether you get a job or get fired from the job, the funnel has been opened and established, and they can launder credit through it for as long as you are kept in the dark. How do they keep you in the dark? To make sure that you stay asleep. Never declare your nationality, which makes all of those documents toxic. Unusable, unexchangeable, untradeable in the stock market. That's just the beginning, because there's a lot more that the people can do once they educate themselves. And I mean educate yourself, because these foreigners will never educate you. So you have got to step it up, get back into the classroom that you're going to create, and start studying everything. And I see there's a lot of sons in here. I know you're not all single. Where's your mate? Where is your mate? How are you going to transfer all that you just heard here to her? And she better be ready to jump on board, because if she's not, trust and believe, baby, I won't see you next week. Because even if she's out of her mind, If she don't want you to do something, you ain't doing it. And you can try to do it, but she will make it absolutely difficult for you to do it until you finally give it up. So you got to be what? Equally yoked. And that goes for the sons too. If you are with somebody, or sisters, I'm sorry, that goes for the sisters too. If you're with somebody who does not have your back, is not supportive, is not ready to jump on board with you, you ain't going to be back here next week either. Or if you do, it will be very difficult for you. I know, I've been there. There was things that I decided I was going to get involved with, and I had children, and their father is supposed to keep them while I'm trying to do these things to better our family, and he decides to disappear. I was determined, though. There's a difference between a son and a mother. I was determined. I found somebody to keep them babies so I can do what I had to do. And then I cut the brother loose. Unfortunately, I had the future of myself and my children in the front of my mind, and I could not drag dead weight with me. I love them, but you know what? That's where that saying in the Bible comes from. If your right eye betrays you, pluck it out. Islam. Now, I have a little homework assignment for you. Wherever you are, whatever county corporation you're near, you need to do some research. You need to look for the charter. You need to find out who is the CEO, who is the manager, who is the head of corporate security. You're wondering what this all means, huh? The CEO is the mayor. The head of corporate security is the chief of police. And the COO is probably the manager, which you probably never hear about. But you want to do a full investigation. See, everybody always investigating us. We don't never investigate nobody else. You are doing a full investigation of the who is who in the county corporation that is near you, because you're going to need that information for next week's class. Islam? Y'all got that? All right. You need to go, whatever county corporation you are near, you need to find out, you need to do a full investigation on who everyone is in that corporation. It is the infrastructure. If you've ever worked for a corporation, they have an intranet. And in that intranet, they have let me think if I can remember the word. What is it called? Send it out every year. No, where they tell you who's the CEO and who the CEO reports to. No, they don't call it that. No, it's a flow chart, and it shows you who the CEO is, who he reports to, who reports to CEO. You know, organizational chart. Thank you. There it is. It's an organizational chart. I'm telling you, every one of these county corporations, they have an organizational chart online. They put their whole business on the World Wide Web. They don't try to hide nothing from you. But they're counting on the Moors never getting off the dance floor and doing the electric slide and into the study rooms and the internet and studying who is actually molesting me. No, not in a county corporation setting. It even says it in the charter. The CEO is the mayor. The chief of security is the chief of police. The COO is probably the manager. Many of them have of the city, of the county corporation. They call them different things in different areas. The borough president, you know what, you're probably right. Borough president, because he reports to the CEO, which is the manager. Yep. But also within that borough, they have an infrastructure because that's a sub-corporation. So the borough president would be CEO because you're talking about a sub-corporation. So you want to also find out who's handling the money, who the CFO is. The CFO will probably be either the comptroller, the treasurer, or both. Yeah. All right. But you can put both because the comptroller and the treasurer, they have check writing authority. Yeah, that's true. Right. All right, there's a question right here.
It's not a question. I have something to share with everyone. From class from last week, she talked about
Yeah, I just want to, get some clarification. You said chief of police, not police commissioner? Okay. Right. All right. Because I know that there's a chief of police and there's a police commissioner that's always with the mayor.
The chief of police. Okay, but are you saying in this particular county they have a chief of police and a commissioner?
Okay. Because I know Bill Braden would be the police commissioner, but there's a chief of police that's under him. Like he just hired someone as the chief of police.
Are you saying the chief commissioner hired the chief of police? But then you would also implicate the commissioner.
Okay.
Because I'm sure the chief of police. Now you might want to research that because usually it's the mayor that hires the chief of police. All right. So the commissioner is hired by the mayor, and then the mayor. See, but that's the infrastructure. So you want to be able to document that infrastructure because, see, what you're going to notice is you got all of these executive officers of the corporation who are doing administrative work. Now, administrative work does not equate to administrative law because they are a corporation. And if you trickle down, you continue to do the research investigation of the corporation, what you will find is the fall guy is the police. So why is the police the fall guy? Everybody needs to go and research. It's on the website, Tallahassee versus Sac. The police are there to protect corporations, not people. That you have a military force warring against the people to protect a corporation, that is unconstitutional. Well, here's the thing. They might be here if they're calling themselves a sheriff, which is a Moorish title, Sharif. Sharif is a Moorish title. Only a Moorish son can be a Sharif. All right? So if the sheriff or Sharif is modern European, it's hands down probably in disguise. He's really a police disguised as a Sharif. It doesn't, because there's no marshal in the organic constitution. Just like I want you to pay particular attention to their court, so-called judicial, inferior court is what they call it in their charter, infrastructure, right? Because in their infrastructure, they call everybody magistrates, never judges, and they have no judicial authority. Remember, I said that they are executive officers of a corporation. They are operating from an administrative perspective, right? And they will say, oh, administrative, right? Well, we got case law that says that they are ministerial officers if they're handling things administratively, and they have no judicial authority. So if they are calling themselves making a judicial decision, they are in disguise as a judge lawfully seated. And that's all they are, is an executive officer of a corporation. Well, you know what? That's why if you look at it, it has their corporate seal, but it doesn't have the great seal of the state. It has their corporate seal.
Right.
And if you go into their establishment, they'll usually have some sort of a crest that says, what is it in the back? Remember, you've gone into the court and you see the
Oh, they'll have like behind the magistrate it says, founded in, it tells you right there. It says founded in whatever, or established in whatever.
See, what they're doing is they are administering corporate affairs where the presumption is that the people, the Aboriginal indigenous people, is their indentured servants, and they have committed some sort of a corporate violation which they have to administer. But the thing about it is they have created this fictitious geographical boundary, and we'll see that in the charter. And they're saying that if you're in this parameter, fictitious though it is, we got jurisdiction over you. That's unconstitutional. Everything must be by consent. Everything. And you are not a commodity.
Anyway, because what they're talking about in their geographical boundaries are really dealing with their sales territory and not the land. That's why we keep telling people they got to understand you're on the American land, and that is as American national, you are domiciling in a national domicile, right? So even if you want to look at it, these states are quasi-national domiciles, right? Right? So you could never be a part of that. They're quasi. They're not full national domiciles. You're in the American land. You're national. The United States of America, which is a corporation, boundaries don't exist.
And I just want to say one last thing. I got my train of thought back. If you pay particular attention to their so-called infrastructure, their what do you call it? Their organizational chart, where they define their so-called inferior court, you will find a prosecutor, right? Look in the organic constitution for the authorization of a prosecutor, as well as an attorney. If it's not in the Constitution,
It can't be happening or ought not be happening on this land. Islam?
Sis, what did you want to share with us? Go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted to share. I stumbled upon like a silver certificate that I wanted to
Say
share.
that again?
A silver certificate. The actual dollar that says redeemable in silver. I wanted to share with everyone.
I could have let them know. Well, you know what? Can you bring it next week for that?
Yeah.
Because we got to close out. But can you bring it next week?
I will.
Let me see how you do. You have it? Do you have it covered? Yeah. Oh, you do have it covered. Okay. All right. Because I got something that actually says redeemable for lawful money. It is a silver certificate. But the ones they have now does not say that, and you never really looked at it, so they're not redeemable, right? All right. So with that, we're going to close out, and next week, how to write a deposition / call of action. Because as I said, if you went to an attorney, the first thing you do is have you sit down and say what happened, right? And then you sit down and you say what happened. Somebody's typing it up, right? Then he reads it after somebody types it up and says, okay, let me see how I'm going to supposedly defend you. So the same thing has happened when you have a cause of action about what happened to you that you're going to charge and or someone has sue someone with. You have to know how to, like you'll call us up or you'll stop us right here and tell us all about what happened. But you don't have it written down. So that anybody who would want to assist you could if they wanted to. So you have to learn how to do that. So that's part of the how to do with suit thing, starting with the deposition on how to depose. Because all they're doing is deposing. They're looking at all that and say, oh, where they violated this. Now, anybody here for the first time tonight? Oh, lots of hands there. Can you keep your hands up real quick, and then we close it out. We'll see you next week, right? Sisters first. Welcome all sisters to the class. All mothers to the nation. We welcome the nation. Sister Mountain. All right. I hope you'll be here next week. And you're going to bring your silver certificate, right, and pass it around. Thank you. And you're new? You're not new? No. You're just setting up ready so we can close out. All right. Anybody else that's new that needs to get a packet? A welcome packet. Is it on? Let me see. You don't think so? Let's see here. You know what? I'm going to fix that. Put it back on there. No. I got you right here, though. Fix this on your... Yeah. And when you're done, give this to David. All right, let me make sure it's on. It is on. Yes, it's on.
It's on. 5 on the left, 2 on the right. Repeat after me. Allah, Father of the universe. Father of love. Truth. Peace. Freedom. And justice. Allah is my protector. My guide. And my salvation. By night. And by day. Through his holy prophet. Through Ali. Also known as Sheikh Sharif Abdullah Ali. Amen. Peace and love.